Welcome to Smart Cherry's Thoughts. This is Sai from India.
Firstly, thank you very much, Ami, for giving me opportunity to interview you for my YouTube channel and podcast.
Oh, no problem.
So I've
Excited.
gone through, so I've gone through your profile now, and I came to know that you are into cloud architecture. So I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing and the work that you already did to my audience.
Mhm. Okay, so yeah, currently a senior cloud advocate at Microsoft, and it's been really fun to do, just learning new things and getting to talk with people about my experience and maybe what others are experiencing in the community and helping them. So it's really a unique situation, so it's really fun. Yeah, I've only been here like about 3 months, and yeah, it's just been a lot of learning and a lot of fun and a lot of teaching and helping others too. So, but my past experience was pretty much kind of a typical infrastructure environment. I was help desk back in my young days, and um, then I worked up through infrastructure and networking and um, VMware engineer and automation, and then cloud. So
So you joined in Microsoft recently.
yeah, end of January I started. I was previously in like a pre-sales role for education, but I left after about 18 months. So it's nice to be back.
So how is the experience this 4 months?
Like I said, it's been great. My boss is amazing. My teammates are great. They're global, so I have to have time zone specific meetings or record because Sonia's in Australia, or and we have people in Africa. So, but having such a great diverse group too, a lot of good ideas and opportunities, and it's been really fun to get to know everyone.
So I can see you worked in a lot of roles before coming to this job. Before this, you worked as digital tech marketing manager at Skylines Academy for four
Mm-hmm.
years, 7 months.
Yep. It was kind of like me taking a break from technology. Everyone talks about burnout, and I kind of did experience that with being in it, like in IT for decades. So I decided to. I kind of have an art background as well, so I want to use that and do more of a marketing side, but still stay with technology. So it was actually my husband and his friend. They started Skylines, and then he started recording training videos. Okay, cool. So yeah, Skylines. I took that as a kind of a pause in what I was doing. Um, Always in IT, so doing the marketing side was a nice break, but to still stay on top of Azure and everything. But then I decided it was time to kind of get back to it, and Microsoft opening happened, and I interviewed at a few other places, like consulting jobs, and this just seemed like the better fit. So
And how was that? Because you worked there for 4 years, 7 months.
mhm. How was it? Or
Yeah, any particular experience that you cannot forget?
it was great to. That's kind of how I got into the Microsoft community because we looked for trainers or even customers would reach out to help or have questions. So it really helped me into the Microsoft community, where before I was more into the VMware community, especially on Twitter. So you have kind of your followers and friends, and then I was kind of blending with the Microsoft too. So it was great. It was a great opportunity to get to know people on the Microsoft side of things and in those communities as well.
And before this, you worked as a systems engineer specialist for 2 years, 7 months.
Yeah. Yeah, that was at University of Chicago Medical Center. So that's where I was more of a VMware and cloud engineer. I did some automation with VRO, vRealize operations and everything. So that was fun, and I had a great team there too. But I kind of felt like I wasn't progressing as much as I wanted to, and that's when I jumped to Microsoft because there was an opening on the sales team. So I was like, oh, Azure is cool. I'm starting to play with it. This looks really fun. And then going into sales was definitely a new experience for me because I was always on the customer side, never on the customer facing side. So I was used to being the customer, not the vendor. And people treat you differently when you're the vendor. So it was a good learning experience. It definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. But after I was ready to take a break and go to Skylines.
So any experience that you cannot forget being in this role?
Just the people I've met, the good, the bad, but mostly the good. There's always mentors out there. I like meeting people with new perspectives, new ideas, or open to listening to my ideas. I really think like Microsoft has a great community of people that are just willing to help, and I love it. And even the culture at Microsoft itself, you would think for a big company it could be pretty toxic, but I've yet to see that. So it's been a fun experience, and I'm always open to talking to people and helping them out and talking about career advice or whatever they need. So it's because I'm both. So.
Nice. And before that, you worked as senior server engineer at Alta Beauty.
Yeah, that was a small stint. That was part of engineering. So I was working as a VMware engineer there and Windows, but we only had two of us at the time, and we had to alternate being on call. It was really so, I'm definitely getting too old to be on call. So it was my last. Well, no, at UCMC I was on call as well for a lot of environments, but also was cool, but retail is different, so you have to definitely be ready 24/7 because you're outward facing. You have Black Friday sales and Christmas sales, and so we had to have like 1,000% uptime, which is impossible. So there's a lot of pressure, but again, another good learning experience and meeting new people, and you always make new connections you want to keep, so you can, maybe run into them 5 years now, and an opportunity arises. So never burn bridges, and and it was a great experience. But it was we were a small team tackling a lot of stuff.
Great. And before that, you worked at Catamaran for 5
Catamaran.
years.
Yeah, that was definitely a good leap for my career. I was at Hallmark, which was Blue Cross, for about 6 years or so if you count the buyout. And so that was the longest I'd been anywhere. And you get comfortable in your role and in your team and everything. And then Catamaran was kind of like a leap for me, just with interviewing and just more of a new, like, not a higher pressure role, but just a new experience because I'd been at my old place so long. You get comfortable. So it was again, I learned so much there. That's when I learned automation from our team lead, and just had opportunity to grow there with training and everything. So I had another good manager who understood. He always said, you carve out some time for your career growth too. You don't work, carve out some time to learn something new, whether it's an hour a week or 2 hours. Just block out your calendar, log off everything, and learn a new skill. So that was helpful and important too.
So you was a senior systems engineer and a systems engineer there.
Yeah, that was just kind of like a promotion within, so I was still in the same role, but we ended up automating our server builds, which is really cool. So you would just create a ticket, and it would automate your VMware request, and it would automate the build, so we could deploy environments at large scale. So it was really cool.
Great. And before that, you worked at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, New Mexico.
Yeah, that's where I was there the longest because it was Hallmark, a subsidiary of Blue Cross, and then Cross bought Hallmark. So that's kind of like where I grew up in IT because I started there as a network engineer and then worked into like a Windows server engineer, and then I went into VMware engineering, and then started playing with automation. And then we had the buyout, which made things different because we were a small company, very agile at Hallmark, where I got to play with, the SAN, I got to play with networking, and I got to play with VMware, but then acquired by a bigger company and everything's more siloed by, of course. So you can't break anything, but it got to be a little too slow. So that's when I saw Catamaran. I was like, oh, that looks cool. So that's when I made the leap.
Nice. And
Yeah.
before that, you worked at Hallmark Services Corporation for 6 years, 4 months as a server specialist, VMware server admin to network administrator.
Yeah, that's where I kind of jumped in as a network administrator, and I even helped out with telecom. And I don't personally love that, but they needed help, so I did it. But yeah, that's where I did a lot of growing in my career. So it was good people.
And
That's pretty much.
how was? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, it's where I, kind of grew up. I started out as a network engineer, and then helped out with telecom, and then just started doing more Windows admin stuff. And then VMware came out, we started playing with that. And in the early days, like GSX and VMware server. And then we finally got the approval to use it in dev. So we created a dev environment. And then eventually we had production and clusters and SQL clusters. So it was great, So.
How was working in Beckens Van Lines? You worked there for
Oh,
2 years, 1 month.
yeah. And that's when I was super young. I wasn't even married yet. Yeah. So Beacons, that's where I actually took a leap there because I knew I could get a start there. I took a pay cut for the opportunity. So that's where I had my help desk job. So I started out as help desk there, just setting up computers and laptops and troubleshooting, end users' issues. And we were in the basement, like typical IT. It was pretty funny. So you get all sorts of personalities and behavior and goofballs. But yeah, that's where I think it's good for everyone to start that way, at least to get an understanding. And you're on the ground plugging network cables in or troubleshooting. And so it was a good learning experience, just trying to make weird issues work, and fix them, different OSs. And then we started using scanners for the van lines, and then those would break. And it was, again, good experience. And then being on call is always traumatic, but a good experience. So, but it's part of your growth, especially in IT. I think you start out help desk and you kind of figure out what you want to do. I didn't know what I wanted to specialize in yet. I just knew I liked computers. I knew I wasn't really into programming. So help desk was a way to just kind of get to know the machine I'm using and go from there. So.
Awesome. You worked there as telephony specialist, tech support specialist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was all those roles. So I started out as help desk, and then I did work with the telecom. That's where I learned kind of VoIP stuff and all that goodness there too. So rolling out a new phone system is always fun. And yeah, or just once I was ready for an engineering role, that's when I saw Hallmark and went to the network side. So.
Great. And before that, you worked as IT analyst in 2002.
Oh, geez. Still at Beacons, or is that school kids?
It is at school kids in
Yeah.
corporation.
So that was like, okay. That's funny because so I actually worked at a heating and cooling company before that, and I was going to school at night for web design. And I interned at school kids to do their website. So I'd go there after my job, go there for a few hours and work on their website. And then once I graduated, I asked if they were hiring, and they said sure. But it was such a small company, I definitely couldn't just be IT. I had to like they took orders for school supplies. So for like elementary school kids. So I'd have to input that data and take orders and then take online orders as well. And then I would do like the backups that we had and maintain the network and make sure everything was running well too. So I kind of had to wear a lot of hats. And then they made everyone work in the warehouse, which is a good experience too. So you know what everyone's going through. You're in this hot warehouse putting crayons and erasers together. So um, that's kind of how I got started in IT, but more on the web design side. Um, and it was again another great learning experience, good people, and they actually got bought out by Staples, so it was a very successful company. But I saw that opportunity at Beacons, and even though maybe the pay wasn't as much, I saw that it was a bigger company. I could start out on help desk, could be fully IT versus kind of spread across multiple like multiple roles, I guess you would say, because you know when you're that small, you know you have to help, you know, answer phone calls, you know, for customers and answer, you know, so it was a lot, but again, a lot of fun, and I was a lot younger back then, so more energy probably.
So, what is your observation about your career, about your work experiences? Because you started at like help desk, today you are into Microsoft Cloud Advocate and architecting things. So, where you started and where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, I never would have imagined saying, "Hey, one day I'm going to work at Microsoft," you know. So it is like a dream come true. So, but I think hopefully it gives people perspective. Like it doesn't matter where you start, you know, as long as you keep working towards your goals, you can, you know, get there. So, and whether it's with the help of someone or mentorship, or you're just going at it alone, because I was like working my full-time job and then going to school at night, and so there was some, you know, long hours put in, but it paid off for sure. I think it helped ground me and I guess round out my experience versus like maybe just going to college and then jumping straight into a tech role, as far like even on like a customer facing role, because if you've never been on the customer side, you really can't imagine what it's like to run a real world experience, like a real world issue versus like in your lab. So I think being on the customer side brings a lot of value to something like this role now. So I can, you know, I can understand customers and empathize with them, and I know what they're going through. So, but yeah, I mean, it's no job is too small when you want to start into IT. Like I think help desk is the perfect way to get started, and then you can kind of figure out your path. Or if you can start even in engineering right away, that's great too. And you might change your mind and want to be a Linux admin or a SQL admin or get into programming. So there's something out there for everyone.
So, communicating with computers, machines, software, and communicating with human beings, which one?
Which do I prefer? It depends. Sometimes you get sick of humans, sometimes you get sick of computers. I do I do feel like an introvert, but I do like connecting with people, so I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. So I don't know if I'm like one of those mixes of people. But you do like, especially in this role, if you're like doing streaming and then you're recording, it can be exhausting, you know. Then I'm ready to not talk to people or computers. So, but no, the computer, like working on stuff's always exciting, and it doesn't feel like a job when it is exciting. So like just learning something new on my own, or even talking to my husband about tech. We talk, you know, he's in tech too, so then we just end up nerding out all night too. So but definitely love people, probably more than computers.
So you are into tech from last 20 years.
Mhm.
So you saw the evolution of the technology. So what do you say about it?
Well, it's pretty crazy because, yeah, when I graduated, it was right when the dot-com bust happened. So I couldn't get a job as um, a website designer. No one was hiring a website designer at that time. They were laying people off. So going through that and then going through help desk and just seeing the evolution of, like, with virtualization was amazing. Like, no, everyone was scared of it. No one wanted to put their VM on it or their server on it, their application. And then now you have people running thousands upon thousands of workloads in VMware or Hyper-V, and then now you have cloud and you have Kubernetes, and we're just getting further and further along, and there's just so much cool stuff to learn. It's pretty amazing, but you still kind of see that mindset where people are afraid of new technology, and hopefully they'll start adapting it, because once you do, there's so much more opportunity to scale or to use, stuff available to you, like in the cloud, like security options, and just kind of enhances your tool set. So it's been quite the evolution, so, in mindset and capabilities.
Okay. So is there any particular experience that you cannot forget as a technologist?
Um, Experience I can't forget. I remember a huge outage. um, it was Martin Luther King Day, and I just remember everything going down. That was when I was at Hallmark. Like our whole storage array went down. We must have had like a massive power outage. I don't know, but I just remember just the kind of camaraderie of getting through it. We just stayed there day and night until we could get up and running. Bringing in food, and um, everyone, just, even if you weren't a storage admin, you're calling the storage array company. So it was, I mean, again, not fun to spend your free time on, but kind of a bonding experience. And you learn through crisis and emergencies. So if everything was always smooth, you wouldn't learn anything. So that sticks out in my head. So
So what is your favorite job?
favorite job would be this one for sure. It's been so much fun. I get paid for it as a bonus.
Nice. So so what do you like about the present job that you're doing?
I like, just like, again, the diversity of my team. My boss is great. He's flexible and always has like an open door policy. If I decide I want to learn, Azure Sentinel, or it's not Microsoft Sentinel, I can go off and learn that, versus I'm not being pigeonholed. You can only learn this thing and talk about this thing. So um, we're pretty much free to just learn, and as long as we're creating impact for our audience and our customers and people, that's all that matters. So, and it doesn't matter if I'm doing it at 2 in the morning or 2 p.m. As long as I'm accomplishing my goals, then, he doesn't care when I'm, doing it. So it's nice to have that flexibility, so you can, like, bring your kids to school and then come back and work on your blog post or your video, or your study session. So I love the flexibility of, one, just, yeah, being enabled to learn any technology, and then, unless I'm like having to present at a certain time, I don't have to always be online checking in, and, there's no micromanaging or anything. So it's really nice. We're all adults.
So what are those qualities that help you in improving yourself and developing yourself in order to make things possible?
Well, I think everyone goes through that whole imposter syndrome when you doubt yourself. So I think, especially this role, it's grown my confidence in myself. I've always kind of had that, like, insecurity, like, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think just growing up in the technology I have such a good foundation to learn the newer technology. It helps a lot. It's kind of like learning a language. Sometimes it helps you learn another language. So having the, knowing networking and knowing VMware helps me with cloud computing as well. So that's why it's always helpful to start, like, maybe I'm not going to say it like you're starting on the bottom, but like work your way up into the role that you want to achieve versus just getting the role you want and then you're like, oh god, I gotta learn all these things.
So how is working with Microsoft?
Like I said, the culture is really great. They really drive like diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. It's mind blowing. It's really great. The amount of resources we have to, like to donate, they'll match our donations, or to mentor, to give back to the community, to, give back to the planet. It's really, really nice to see and really cool to be a part of. Satya is an amazing leader, and I love listening to him speak at our in our QBRs, and so it's just, I don't know, I can't imagine a place being better than Microsoft. Really, it's really great. The leadership's great, and the people are great, and people will come and go, but I think that's just natural in your career. Sometimes people stay 5 years, 10 years, some people stay 3, just depends on your situation. So, but as far as me, I don't foresee any leaving anytime soon. So it's been really fun. No, I can't hear you. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you are senior cloud architect now.
Advocate, yeah.
How advocate. So how these services, how you are playing with the services, how you are able to uh, find solution for your clients.
Well, that's a really good question. I mean, you get a subscription, and then you also have your Visual Studio subscription or MSDN you can use. But again, you're kind of separated from the customer. So that is my kind of where I'm trying to find ways to connect to people with issues, is like I'll, maybe go on Twitter or on Reddit and see if someone's having an issue, or even on our Microsoft not FAQs, but there's where you can put in a question, like a ticket, and see what type of problems people are having. So maybe I can help them and then publish it and help more people. So that's definitely kind of not a blockage or block for me, but I do find it hard because now I'm not a customer and I don't have like just a customer environment. I have a lab. It's hard to like see what real world people are experiencing. So that's why it's nice when people speak up and then you can help them. So, and that's our whole point, is just to, advocate for Microsoft, but advocate for the customer as well and fix whatever issues they're having and make sure they're getting the most out of Azure.
So what do you like most in your job?
Talking to people like you. It's great, like meeting new people for sure. I just did a Learn Live session, and I did one with Thomas Maurer, which he was my coworker at the time, but then I got to do one with an MVP, John Joyner, and I'd never met him, so it was cool to meet him from the community. And then, so every time you do sessions like these, you learn, you meet new people, and that's been the most exciting part, I think.
So what do you say to the new cloud aspirant who wants to come into cloud, Microsoft Cloud, who wants to learn services, who wants to solve problems in cloud or in IT? So what advice you will give?
I would say kind of like, I once got the chance to talk and interview with Donovan Brown, and he had really good advice about kind of making your own brand, where it's like if you're trying to come up in cloud and you want to get a job, let's say like at Microsoft, and you should blog about your experiences or tweet about them or go on LinkedIn and just kind of make it, even if it's just, hey, I'm studying for the AZ900, well, blog about it or video record yourself and put on YouTube, and it'll resonate with someone, and just, share your experience, because it's always valuable and it's always individual to you. So I think that's really good advice. And then, like, just kind of like your brand, like maybe you get into something like security or Azure Arc, or and that's kind of like, if people think about that product, they think about you, and then they come to you in the community, and you become an MVP or whatever, and then it can just open more opportunities for you there. So
At last, what is your observation about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
I've seen your following. No, I haven't had a chance to watch it. But I think I talked to you earlier, and then I got so busy because I just started at Microsoft, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Because you really lose track of time in the beginning. But no, I think some of my colleagues have been on your show, so I'll definitely watch. It'll be fun to see.
So I take interviews of personally I did masters in software engineering and bachelor's in computer science and engineering. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
taking I created this project. I'm doing this project interviewing experts like you who are into IT industry for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, like how they solve the problems and what kind
Mm,
of projects that they did and what are their experiences. And not only IT, also non-IT people like film industry people who worked in
mm.
Marvel and who are working in Netflix or Amazon or I think, also different like authors, some doctors, police officers. So just
Oh,
trying
wow.
to understand what they are doing and how they are solving problems. I'm a technologist,
Right.
so doing this and learning mostly experts like you who are into technology, interviewing them and learning from them, and also putting on my YouTube channel and podcast. So how this experience is going to helpful for me and also to my audience, what they are
That's
going to
great.
learn and what I'm going to learn from this.
Nice. That's great.
What is your observation?
I think what you're doing is awesome. I mean, especially all walks of life, like police officers, and you're going to learn so much. So I always wanted to do a podcast. I never probably could commit to running one. I'd probably do 2 episodes and then I'd be like, oh, okay. So that's great. I think that's amazing what you're doing. And you'll learn a lot from so many different perspectives. And because, again, everyone's experience is different. Especially, like mine as a woman in tech, is different. And then so I think it's really awesome you sharing that information with everyone, and then it helps you too, so you can grow. What do you want to work in or what's your goal?
I want to work in Microsoft like you.
Oh, nice. You can get there. You totally can. Yeah, just keep spreading the good word,
So
and
uh,
yeah, keep learning. And that's what I love too. There's so much free learning materials on Microsoft Learn. So, and then what we have Build coming up, and then if you do the Cloud Skills Challenge, you get a voucher, and so stuff like that. There's always opportunity. So, and then apply to be an MVP.
that's great. So uh, do you have anything to say to my audience who are listening to our conversation from anywhere on this planet?
Just kind of follow your passion. I knew I liked IT. I didn't know what though. I just kind of fell into it, and you'll make a path. And if, as long as you are surrounded by good people, make sure don't stay in a toxic workplace or anything. But it's not worth it. So make the jump if you need to, and but never burn bridges. Because you might run into that. Might run into someone 20 years from now, and they're like, "Hey, I'm hiring," and you're like, "Oh, hey, yeah." So I rarely got a job through like monster.com or from not knowing someone to refer me. So like growing your network is really important, I think. And so you have someone to vouch for you or to even let you know there's an opening. So if I didn't have my network, I probably wouldn't have landed at Microsoft. So I'm grateful for, all my friends and colleagues and stuff that have gotten me here. And so I just say, yeah, like, find what you like. Don't be shy about sharing the information you've learned, and then grow your network, because that's who will help you in the end with, finding out about a job opportunity.
So can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Sure, yeah. And people can reach out to me. I'm more than happy to, answer any DMs on Twitter or LinkedIn, or connect on LinkedIn. So yeah.
I'll share your LinkedIn and Twitter in the description of this video. And people who
Okay,
find
great.
the video on YouTube can connect you. Can you spell your Twitter account to my
Sure.
podcast audience?
Yeah, sure. It's Weird Girl, at WYRD, and then girl, GIRL. Yeah. And then I should be on LinkedIn as just Amy Collier, COLYER, but you'll see my face.
So can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yes.
And also, can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you,
For
Amin.
sure.
Keep going, keep inspiring, and keep solving more problems.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.